Hi, love. Hello, and welcome to Co-Creative Healing Journey. My name is Greta. I am a healer, and this is Energy Check-In, where Spirit is having me bring through a message that is intended to help you in the energies of these times. So, first and foremost, welcome, my love. If you're new here to the channel, I'm so happy to have you here. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. It means a lot to me. I'm really happy to have you here. So that being said, let's get right to it. Let's get right into this message. And so this is something new that I'm going to be doing on the channel, and it's very much in the spirit of the message, meaning that whenever you're watching this, whenever this has come to you, we are in a time of massive, massive frequency shifts. And so energy is not linear. And it's not limited to a certain time or a certain space. It comes over and over again, and especially really throughout the end of 2023, throughout 2024, throughout 2025, and in the beginning of 2026, we are going to be experiencing consecutive frequency shifts. And we're here talking about the collective. So this would be the frequency of the collective that is shifting, 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 shifting. And so when the frequency shifts, it doesn't mean that everybody shifts their frequency like that. It means that the potential frequency that everybody can hold is shifting and is elevating. And so it would probably go into the Schumann resonance, it would go into the frequency of the planet itself, but that's kind of beyond the scope of this message. Here and now, Spirit wants you to know that it's like we're opening new potentials and we keep expanding the baseline for where the human frequency can be and how it can grow and it can evolve. And we are talking about frequency, we're talking about energy. And so whatever is energy is at its core and essence, it's a potential, it's something that we can grow and evolve into or not. And so we are moving into 2025, which has a tremendous amount of energy. 2024 also tremendous amount of energy, both in the astrology and the numerology and how things are coming together, huge amount of energy. And then we have 2025, which is this massive destiny point. And yes, it is linear time. Yes, it is this 1 year, this one space. But again, it's an energetic space. So there's an energetic kind of save button that we're all going to collectively push on 2025. And so everyone's individual timelines are getting activated, they're getting accelerated. There is growth, there is evolution, there are potentials that you as a soul want to be able to cash in on, that you want to be able to maximize, that you want to be able to develop, that you want to be able to get to a certain point where in that 2025 energy that your what you bring to the table energetically, what you want to develop, that can be in alignment with the general overall energy, and then you can take it with you. So an example would be that, for example, 2025 is a massive portal. And it says, hey, 2026 and beyond is going to be wild. And it's going to be very important at the level of the collective evolution, right? So we have 2026, and so 2025 stands there as a portal and is checking people's energy to see what they're bringing into 2026. Did you work that out? Did you work this out? Did you create that? Did you do this? Did you do that? How in alignment are you for what must destiny, for what must come next? And if you're in alignment, the door's open. And if you're not, then the door remains closed and you get another cycle to try to figure it out, another cycle to try to develop it. You go back another round. And now, of course, we're huge beings, multidimensional beings. So there's some things where we're going to be aligned, some things where we're going to have it all figured out and worked out. Awesome, that passes through. And then some things that are not, and we're going to be repeating cycles. So more likely than not, we are going to have some aspects where we are just cruising and then some aspects where we are bruising. And so this brings us to the title of the reading. The Spirit says actually not quite yet. So I just got interrupted and there was something going on in the background, and that happens sometimes when I record these videos, but it very much is happening in a timely fashion here, because before we move on to that, Spirit really wants to explain what the frequency shifts are for and where the focus is going. And always, as within, so without. So our inner reality, our paradigm, and how we experience it is what leads to the manifestations outside of us. And that is true fundamentally at the highest levels of reality. But there is a level at which that's not true, because we are interacting with other people, we are interacting with an environment, we are interacting with a society. There are some fixed circumstances and dynamics and things that we have to manage and that we have to engage with. And that's very much where the focus is going to be from now on, end of 2023, 2024 into 2025. These are frequency shifts that are intended to raise our energy very much in alignment with who we are, and especially with whatever work we have done in the past. So wherever we've been putting our work, we've been putting our focus, that frequency shift rises. And there's a lot of manifestation in these kinds of frequency shifts. There's a lot of new things, new events, new experiences, new ways of going about things that are going to come in. And it's about us aligning with that, right? We're in that frequency. And again, depending on the work that we've done on ourselves, we can be in that frequency. Then the question is, can the people around us, can the environment around us, can the other situations and circumstances and conditions that we have in our lives, can they keep up with this frequency shift? I'm shifting my frequency. Let's say I start eating differently. Is the lunch that gets served at work going to be able to align with that? I have my integrity, I have my beliefs, I have what I'm living out, but can that keep up? Can my spouse, let's say I want to go vegan. How is my spouse going to be okay with that? Now, that obviously does not mean to divorce him, but it means that there's some work that needs to be done and there are some solutions that need to be arrived at. And it's very much about also being able to hold that frequency when maybe it gets a little bit difficult to cook 2 meals every single time, every single day, for the rest of your life, right? And so on and so forth. So there's a lot of energy of being tested, but not in a way where it's kind of to discover who you are. You're being tested on who you are and what you embody and how much you can hold that alignment and keep embodying it, keep being yourself, keep choosing yourself, because that's very much frequency, the conscious choices that we're making in every single moment. We have a vibration, and frequency is how often we choose that vibration and whether we choose it every single time or drop and so on and so forth. And so when there are frequency shifts, we're rising, right? We're getting called into higher, but a frequency shift can also be into lower, right? So for example, frequency shift is irrespective of the vibration. So you can eat super healthy at a low frequency, right? Once in a while. And you can eat very unhealthy at a high frequency, like kind of every single day. And so you could need to shift the frequency from being very frequent here to take a low frequency into something that is or you can take a high frequency, into something lower, or you can take the high frequency and then or something low into a high frequency, right? I'm sure you get it. But the point is that it can be counterintuitive, right? That we always think that it's good to have a high frequency, but there are issues, there are spaces and areas, there are relationship dynamics where the frequency needs to go down. We maybe need to spend a little less time with that person. We need to spend a little less time doing that. We need to put less energy into this. We need to put more energy into that. So there's a lot of leeway and there's a lot of dancing, kind of dancing with the energy. And especially Spirit is saying dance with the choices that need to be made. And it needs to feel like a dance. It needs to be feeling very, very loose and very, very free and very, very fulfilling for it to be really on point and really true, right? So not to do the frequency shift because, oh, I feel like there's a frequency shift. Well, let me just do it because I don't want to go through all the testing, all the healing work that needs to get done because I know where that's going to lead. So I'm just going to kind of fake it till I make it. No, it's not that. It has to be consciously chosen. It has to be true. You have to really shift your frequency in the way that is aligned, right? You can't just eat every day like, oh, I'm gonna eat healthy, but you're crying and dying inside. That's not a frequency shift. And so it's about adapting, but it's also there's a lot of understanding. Why is this shifting? Why is the frequency shifting here? Why am I seeing this person more? Why am I seeing this person less? Why am I doing this more? Why am I doing this less? And it really, again, why am I choosing to see this person less? Why am I choosing to see this person more? And it comes from deep inside where you just don't function the same way. You just don't have the same flow. Your energy shifted. There's been an energy shift collectively, and you are kind of in a reception mode of that. Just like, in old school, you would have a radio. We all have our little antennas, and the frequency that is going around in our collective has shifted. And so the way it's picking up through our radio, the symphony that we put out or the garbled white noise. That's up to our own individual system and how we are tuned to be able to render the frequency shift, right? So I'm going to express the frequency shift in my way, you're going to express it in your way, and it is all about finding what fits us and what is really right and true for us. And so, that being said, we now come to the cruise or bruise method, because what happens very often, because of how we live here on the planet, what we're going to experience as a frequency shift is going to feel very expansive. So whether it is to choose to do more or less or something, the experience still is going to be one of expansion, of feeling bigger, more powerful, more abundant, more true, more clear, having more integrity, more pure. There's a big purity component in it, especially when if vibrations get involved. A lot more fulfillment, especially if amplitude gets involved, right? It's all energetic. So however that is unfolding, there's just this sense of expansion. Now you can see, like in the camera, right? When you expand, it feels really good. It feels kind of like that, actually. That it feels really, really good, very radiant, brilliant, and becoming more and more and more. And it feels very freeing. But then ultimately, you arrive at the boundaries, right? Because I'm expanding, but I'm outside the frame. And so when we meet those boundaries, there's a sense of contraction, and it's absolutely completely normal, right? It's like you expand, 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 expand. There's space to expand because you've been smaller than you really are. So the frequency shifts. You're a bigger being, but you're still in the position of being small, and you still think you're small. You're still acting small. You're still living small. It's normal, right? That's where you are at. And so there's this process of expanding into the greater space that the frequency has. But ultimately, you're going to find some limitations, and especially how we're talking about it, it's going to show up in your life. It's going to show up with people around you. It's going to show up in how you do things. It's going to show up very much in the unfolding of you, the unfolding of your day in the world, in your life, and so on and so forth. So when you meet those limitations, or that, yeah, limitation, when you meet that, it's, yeah, the contraction, it's gonna feel very uncomfortable, because then it's like you're having a mirror. It would be something like, imagine, you're doing your makeup and you're having fun and you're like, let me paint my paint, I don't care, I'm just painting all these lovely colors, and you're putting this on, putting that on, and then you have a mirror and it's like, oh. Right, it's the meaning with the mirror. Or you step outside your door and everybody's looking at you. Oh, people don't like it. Oh, you're getting some kind of feedback from your environment, from other people, even from yourself, and then you just feel some sort of way about it, and there's this sense of contraction. And so there's a choice. You can either go back to being small, or you can hold it and then find a way to integrate it into you, so that your sense of self evolves, so that your experience evolves, so that your relationship evolves, so that your project evolves, right? You integrate it into the experience, whatever experience you're having. And then when you do that, it's just normal. Then it's just your new normal, to be bigger, to be more expanded, and you can just live that way. So there's the need to fight the contraction, returning to the old, keeping the status quo, um, keeping yourself small, but also just kind of playing along, settling. There's the need to fight against what could be, it can feel like an instinct. It's not. It's more habituation, the habit of contracting and going back to the status quo, right? But ultimately, the thing is that even if you expand and you arrive in this space, you're going to do great. And again, you're going to cruise along, you're going to have a wonderful time. But ultimately, there's going to be another frequency shift. And then you're going to need to expand, and then you're going to meet that contraction again. You're going to meet those limitations, and again meet the desire or the fear, and then go to the habit of going into contraction. And so it's going to happen over and over and over again. That's why Spirit wanted to make this video, for you to understand the times that you're stepping in. You are in a time where you're just going to be growing, expand, contraction, expand, contraction. That's going to be the dynamic until at least the beginning of 2026. It's the way it is. And again, it's not necessarily fueled from within you. It's the environment. And the environment is calling you into expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. all with the knowledge that there's 2025. So 2025, destined spaces, destined places, destined things for you to be, to do, to give, to create, to experience, to try, to innovate, and so on and so forth, right? So that process is just going to be driving you along, and it is to drive your growth. But the experience is that continual expansion, contraction cycle, which brought spirit to the cruise or bruise method. And it's very simple. It's about kind of your experience, right? Le ressenti in French, like how it feels to be you, your reality, I suppose, and how you're realitying, how you're going about your life, right? How you're living. And so you're doing your thing, and you're gonna have the frequency shift, and then it's like a very high on energy, can feel so fantastic, right? And you just climb up, or sometimes you can almost also plummet down, but essentially there's that expansion. It feels very, very liberating, like your soul, your spirit rejoicing. I have more space to expand in, my spiritual energy is flowing better. So predominantly there will be a sense of expansion, as we're saying, liberation, rejuvenation, revolution, freedom, right? Yes, finally. And so you're cruising, you're going to feel like you're cruising along, things are coming together, it makes sense, especially in the direction of what is new. But wherever you are not able to hold that highest frequency, you're going to feel bruised, you're going to feel sore, it's not going to feel good. And so there's this dichotomy, these two, those polarity of experience is going to be cropping up in the next couple of years a lot in our reality. And as a fundamental kind of red thread to how we're going to live, we're either going to be cruising, going along, and everything is fine, I'm in alignment with the universe, this is falling into place, this is falling into place, this is falling into place. Or we're just going to feel like, oh my God, this hurts so much, or just feeling so uncomfortable, not even just comfort zone, but just so out of place within ourselves, within our lives. This is too big, this is too much, this is too soon. A lot of overwhelm, some fear, definitely, but more sense of overwhelm. It could be also a sense of stress, like, this is not right. But of course, when you're bruising, when you're feeling bruised, it's the habit of contraction that's kicking in. So it's very important to recognize it. It's almost like a diagnosis, right? You diagnose, oh, wait, this is not feeling good. It's not because it's not good. It's not because it's the wrong way. It's not because there's anything wrong. It's how I am perceiving it. And it's the habit within me, the conditioning that wants me to contract, to go back. So whatever you do, don't go back. Keep moving forward. Do not go back. But you just have to recognize it. And when you recognize it, it's like, okay, what is it in this situation that is having me expand? What am I choosing to do more of? What am I choosing to do less of? How am I working the frequency and the energy in the situation? And then work with yourself to basically accept it. Well, that's how it is. That's how it is. I'm doing this now. I'm with this person now. I'm living there now. I'm pursuing this now. That's how it is. And then you work with your fear. You work with your rejection. You work with the overwhelm. You're not overwhelmed by the situation. You're overwhelmed by the expansion of your being in the situation and through the situation. And those are two very, very different things. And it'll be a lot easier to deal with the situation, to be there, to engage, to navigate and direct it where you want it to go without the confusion, right? Put things at the right level. There's nothing wrong here and now. There's nothing wrong with me doing this. There's nothing wrong with me pursuing it. I am just feeling like it is asking too much of me because I am not aware that I have grown, that I have evolved, that I am more today, that I am more now than I was yesterday, than I was even just a moment ago. Just a moment ago. And I'm seeing someone step on stage, right? You step on stage, and just before you go on stage, you have the nerves. And I'm thinking about an amazing actor like Anthony Hopkins who would vomit, right? Just before recording, which you would not believe. He's amazing, amazing actor. But then, that's what he deals with. That's what he manages. So you have the nerves. Then you get up on stage and you're there and you have this audience in front of you. Well, all of the steps that it took you to reach center stage, you grew and you evolved during those steps. You're not the same person. You're not in the same position. You don't have the same energy. You don't have the same frequency. And so there's no reason for you to act on stage like you did when you were backstage, being afraid to be on stage, right? It's like that. And it's all of those dynamics. And you're going to have the easiest time. You're going to be able to cruise along and have a fantastic, wonderful, amazing time in energies that is frequency shift after frequency shift after frequency shift. Are you kidding me? For almost 2 years from now on, right? Over more than 2 years. What can you create? What can you manifest? How far can you go? How far can you take this? What you're loving right now, what you're creating right now, what you're pursuing right now, how much can you expand that through these frequency shifts, right? It's not just about you anymore. It's about your whole life. You can blossom your whole life. You can evolve your whole life. It just takes learning how to do it the right way. And again, to manage especially these cycles, expansion, contraction, expansion. Ah, nothing's wrong. I'm just in contraction. I'm just contracting right now. And lots of love, lots of care, lots of acceptance, but not giving into it and saying, okay, I still know where I need to go. I still know, need to move forward, need to be with this, need to be in this, and then figuring out how. And there's going to be more on that on the channel. We have energy work that's already out, but I feel like you're going to develop those methods also as you go along. You know, your own cruise or bruise method, your own variation of that overall method. It's just something to learn, and it's something to be conscious of in the times ahead. So, love, that was today's message. That is all I have to share with you here and now. I would love to hear how you are receiving this, how these frequency shifts are showing up in your life, in your experience. If you feel like sharing, I would love to hear it. Sending you lots of love, wishing you all the best. And of course, if you do need more help, I do offer intuitive readings. I offer about 4 per week. And then I also have created energy work with cycles of change, enacting new energy cycles, manifesting purpose, also healing from difficult things. There are so many processes there that start from $10 all the way into $75, which is like a 16-month. It can be up to a 16-month process. So it is there. Check it out if it speaks to you. Sending you lots of love, wishing you all the best, and I'll be seeing you around. Bye, my love.